Well, hello Drew Tubers. This is one of my increasingly rare little YouTube posts. I just wanted to have a quick word about one of my favourite models of 2010. As you can see here, a collection of Spitfire Mark 1s and 2s. These are all based on the new Airfix Spitfire Mark 1, the Series 1 kit. Now, as you can see, I've got 4 completed. This one in the grey and green on the end here is approaching finishing, and as so far I've only spent about 2.5 days from opening the box to getting it to that state. This really is, in my opinion anyway, one of the finest models that Airfix have done for many years. After what I consider to be numerous false starts with Spitfires in all scales in recent years, more or less everything, in my opinion, more or less everything since the 48 scale late Griffin Spitfires has been pretty much a false start for Airfix. There were always engineering problems with it, there were always execution problems, there were crudities. Basically, every time they announced a new model, everybody was waiting for it anxiously, and when it turned up, they always turned out to be a serious disappointment. That carried on right up till the Mark 9, which was released in early 2010, which is a nice enough model, but again, it just lacks some little aspects which would have made it much more versatile, much nicer. It does have the inaccurate aileron line, which in this day and age there's really no excuse for. Things like why the rudder was moulded in with the fuselage halves, thus immediately limiting your Mark 9 options to early small ruddered Mark 9s. All these things remain a mystery to me and just indicate a kind of a lack of imagination and forethought by the designers or planning. In August this year, the new Mark 1 was released, the 72nd scale Mark 1, in this boxing here, which I think you can probably see. £4 or £5 a piece. It's utterly superb. I'm not saying it's the perfect model, but for me, in terms of 72nd scale models, it is my favourite model of 2010. The detail level I generally like. Some say it's a little bit heavy. I'm pretty happy with it. The overall execution is very nicely done. Most importantly, it shows creativity and imagination in the execution. It's broken down so it builds quickly and easily, and the way it's been designed, for my money, also gives plenty of options for future developments of this model. I'm going to take this one here out of the equation, because it was just one I built and brush painted. In actual fact, my first brush painting job for a long time, for another reason which we don't need to go into here. So we're left with these 3 that I've completed and the one nearing completion, including one here that I've converted to a PR1G, again for other reasons which will become clear in due course. But the breakdown of this model leaves myriad options for the future for Airfix. Firstly, the rudder's separate, which might not sound like a lot, and there's really no point in the Mark 1, but it points to a bit of imagination in the possibilities for the future. The wings and fuselages are on separate sprues. Now, if you take this Mark 1 here, projecting forward, it would be very easy for Airfix to do a Spitfire B-wing with a new spinner and prop, and there you go, you've got a Mark 5B. Project further on from there, you could potentially add a C-wing to the kit. There you go, you've got a 5C. Then, as the fuselage is on a new sprue, you could potentially tool a new fuselage. You've got a Mark 8-9. Thus it goes on. The breakdown of the kit is so intelligent and shows so much imagination, in my opinion, that potentially if Airfix undertook to do a rolling plan of tooling development for this model, they could do everything up and through the Mark 18 and Mark 19 as new tools based on this model. I know they've released a Mark 19 and a Mark 9 in 72nd recently. The Mark 5C from a few years ago, based on the 30-year-old Mark 5B, is essentially terrible. What I'm saying is that if Airfix have got the imagination to treat all those as false starts and treat this as the real beginning of a new range of Spitfires, they can own the Spitfire market right up to and including most of the Griffon variants if they choose to. I'd like to see Airfix do it. I'm massively impressed with how this kit has been executed and the potential for the future, which is really what I wanted to talk about here. It's the potential for the future which I'm finding so so potentially exciting about this model. So Airfix, great job, fabulous model. Let's see more. Let's see you use this kit, which is intelligently engineered, well broken down, and provides a superb baseline Spitfire. Let's see you use that.